name's Leo Cordes, and welcome to the Ring and All Other Sports. Guys, this is 2 episodes I did back-to-back, so if I'm a little off, I'm sorry. But again, my guest is referee Rich Lannon.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you, too. All right, listen, we're going to just pick up from where we left off. Any locker room stories, like, I don't know, beefs, fights, anything like that you've seen?
The first one was, the match was over. Mad Dog Rashad got drop kicked from the behind.
Yeah.
And this is when we just started. And when he got back to the locker room, he threw the bone at that wrestler.
Yeah.
And it smashed loud. And I was scared.
Yeah.
And I kept looking at Perry Saturn because he's the only one that could do something about this.
Right.
But he didn't do anything about it. They just let him, argue a little.
Now, do you think it's because Mad Dog Rashad was a veteran compared to Perry at the time? Because wasn't Mad Dog around a little bit longer than Perry?
Yeah, a lot longer, because he had the championship belt 6-7 years. This is way before me.
Right.
And he finally lost it to Triple H.
Yes. And what was that, his 4th match? Something like that? Do you remember how many matches Triple H had before he won that title?
I'm not sure, because it was in Middleborough.
Yeah, okay.
I think everything happened in Middleborough.
Is that at a mall?
No, it's a high school.
Oh, at a high school. Okay, Middleborough High School.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, after the first show in Middleborough, I did my very one and only talk show there.
Did you?
Yeah.
And was that with Leonard?
No, that was Vic Vicious.
Okay.
It was him and his gang. And then they did the TV taping for Marshville Fair.
Okay.
And they put me over really good.
Nice. That's awesome. How about any ribs, like the best rib maybe that you saw, or maybe the worst rib you saw?
Well, the last one is, where's your cup? No.
Oh, hey! They put my cup underneath Walter's hat. He just pulled a rib. That's a good one.
Yeah, probably my only one ever.
That's the only rib you ever pulled? I feel honored that it was on me then.
I think so.
Nah, that's awesome.
I remember when we had a guy, Jimmy Jack Cash.
Yes.
And he came in with a baseball bat for his matches, and Duke Dalton hit his baseball bat outside.
Yeah.
And he ran round and round and round, and finally he went to the ring without the bat. And I was new, so I was like, well, he needs his bat. So I got the bat and ran up to the ring.
You brought it back up to him? It's funny that you said that, because Jimmy Jack Cash, I was there for his very first match. It was at that show for Mike Spotter. I've already, Jimmy told me this. Jimmy Cash, great guy.
Yeah.
Really great guy. All right, did you have any, obviously I know, Triple H stuff, but did you have your favorite people to work with? Like maybe Dukes?
Dukes was always fun.
Yeah.
Basically, I liked almost everybody except for Perry Saturn.
Yeah.
If the wrestler pissed him off, just watch out.
Right.
So when I was in the ring with him, I had one eye on the action and one eye always on him.
Right.
And basically that's about it.
Yeah. Well, I feel bad because, he really wasn't the nicest guy. Kind of like how I liked Chief Jay Strongbow as a little kid, and I found out he wasn't very nice. I don't think Perry Saturn sounds very nice. I mean, he put a bull beating on Mike Bell.
Yeah, I remember that.
Because he bought something, but you're supposed to take care of your fellow opponent. And the worst part was he tried to throw him outside the ring, and that was worse than anything else because the way he fell. But Perry says in a shoot interview that he was throwing him to protect him. And it certainly did. Obviously, how he fell, it didn't protect him.
But if you watch where it screwed up, one was going for an arm drag,
right,
and the other one was going for a hip toss.
Yes.
And it screwed up that, and then he got mad and threw him out.
Right.
I got one Perry Saturn thing when I went to Stackpole Field before I joined Killer Kowalski School, Outback Jack was on it. It was packed full of people. Nikolai Volkov, Cowboy Bob Orton.
Nice.
Okay, there was Perry Saturn, long hair, cowboy stuff,
Right.
all that stuff. And the kids were chasing Perry wherever he went. All the kids, like the Pied Piper,
Right.
were following him everywhere.
Really? That's wild. And Perry was a great worker. Don't get it, you know what I mean? Like, he really was. I mean, did you ever referee any Eliminators matches?
Yeah, I did once. The very first Eliminators match, and the ring announcer, Mel Simons, called them the Equalizers.
He makes a few mistakes. I'll tell you one that he did when I was at the show.
And Perry went right up to me and goes, "The Equalizers." I'm like, oh, great, he's already mad.
Yeah, and you didn't even say it, but he's getting mad at you.
Yeah.
Listen, at a Jeff Costa show, he had Road Warrior Animal was there. It was something for Hawk, who had passed away. And Mel kept going, "Come have your picture taken with Hawk! Hawk of the Road Warriors!" And I mean, Hawk was dead and it was Animal.
Oh.
And he did it multiple times, not just once. It was kind of weird. I mean, I'm outside the ring kind of laughing. Not that, obviously not that Hawk had passed away, but that Mel was saying Hawk was here. It was pretty crazy. 1 second here. All right. Any least favorite to work with? I have a feeling you just might have mentioned somebody that is the least favorite to work with.
I seem to get along with everybody,
Right. Don't surprise me that you're an easygoing guy and a good guy.
but I already told you about, it's hard to work with Perry if he's mad.
Right.
And that always scared me.
Yeah. Well, I don't blame you. I mean, Perry Saturn saved a woman that was being raped by two guys that got shot and kept fighting.
Right.
So, I mean, you got a right to be scared of a guy like that. He was a tough guy.
And he was a very hard worker in school.
Right.
And he did a moonsault off the top rope, and his feet went through the ceiling.
Wow, no kidding.
And they didn't fix the ceiling, so you'd always see a big,
Right.
huge hole up there.
That's wild. I was at the night I told you I met Chris Duffy and he brought me up to Killer. It was a WWF show at the Lowell Memorial Auditorium. And he was there. Perry had a dark match or a tryout match. And he messed up when he went to go jump from the second rope in like a flying cross body.
Right.
He messed it up and missed it. That's why I don't think he probably didn't get signed because of that. But he always, even when he was working for Killer, I remember Perry, the Iron Horseman. And he was really pretty good, too, at, wrestling for Killer.
Killer Kowalski told me about the tryout they had,
Yeah.
and he said WWE didn't want them because they were all offense and no defense,
Right,
no
right.
selling.
Right.
It was just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. One after another. I hear you.
And when I did, again, Middleborough, first match, this guy did 6 finishing moves in the first minute.
Wow.
And then after the match, the guy asked me, "What'd you think about the match?" And I go, "Were you crazy?
Right?
That was like the worst match,
Yeah.
6 finishing moves in the first minute."
Right. So you were honest when people asked you, right? You didn't go like, "Oh, it was great."
Yeah.
You were honest, right?
Yeah.
Which you should be.
I kind of pissed off the bushwhackers too,
Oh, really? The Kiwi sheep herders.
because I was honest. I did a tag match with them. I
Yeah.
can't remember who they fought,
Right.
but they decided to play a rib on me.
Oh, that's
And everywhere I was, one would run at me.
right.
If I moved out of the way, they would change and run at me again.
Right.
Oh,
They just wouldn't stop chasing you.
yeah, the whole match. And we get to the locker room. Well, I was kind of confused. And we get to the locker room and they go, first thing, "How was the match? Did you like it?"
Yeah.
And I go, "I didn't like it at all." They're looking at me like, I can't believe you just said that.
Can I ask you a question? Luke was the one chasing you, huh?
I think so.
Because I don't think Butch would have wanted to exert himself. You know what I mean?
Right.
Unfortunately, Butch Miller passed away not that long ago. And Luke Williams still comes around. He sometimes comes to, Lucky Pro Wrestling. Have you heard of that, right?
Right.
He comes to their shows every once in a while. They bring him in.
And I was going to hire him for cameo, but then the other Bushwalker died.
Right.
So I thought I'd wait, and I didn't.
But you got a couple of cameos. One from a guy named Aaron Stevens, who you brought up earlier, and one from an Olympic gold medalist who you refereed his first match.
Yes, and second.
Kurt Angle. Now, can I ask you real quick? His first match, was that against Dr. Tom Pritchard?
Yes.
And he lost.
I believe so.
Yes, Kurt Angle lost his first match. What a way to put an Olympic gold medalist. You're going to lose. They wanted to see his attitude, I'm sure.
Yeah.
To have him lose the match.
But the Christian Cage one?
Yeah.
Kurt Angle was very, very quiet.
Right.
He was, in his head, he was planning out the match over and over and over again. Didn't want to make any mistakes. Dory Funk Jr. talked to me, do this, do that. And then when the match is over, we're going to raise our hands together and pose for videos.
Right.
Which we did.
Nice. That's awesome. Now, I always thought that Kurt Angle's first match was against Christian, but when I, started doing a little research on you, I found out that it was against Dr. Tom Pritchard. 2 years ago, I was at the Gathering in North Carolina, the wrestling promotion, and I go up to Dr. Tom, and he looks at me and goes, "I know you." And I'm like, "No, you don't." And he's like, "No, I know you." And I said to myself, "I wish you did, but I know you don't know me." It was pretty funny, but it was pretty cool, though, to have like Dr. Tom Pritchard say, "I know you." I wish he did. Because Dr. Tom, he helped out so much on those funkin' dojos.
Yes, he did. And Dory Funk Jr. did too.
Yep.
Jim Cornette.
Nice. I'm a huge Cornette fan.
And Bruce Pritchard helped a lot too.
Yeah.
In fact, when I was doing the WWE shows, the dojo shows, I asked Bruce Pritchard if I could come down to Connecticut and help him with the refereeing.
Right.
And he's like, "Nah, we don't need you."
Oh, what a bummer, man. That stinks. But yeah, that's amazing. Bruce Pritchard and Cornette loves Bruce Pritchard. Did you ever work for Dennis Carluzzo?
I didn't get to do it, but John Rodale did.
Okay, did you go down there with them? No.
Yes.
Oh, you did? Okay, because I could have swore that I thought you were down there too at a Carluzzo show.
I filmed the whole show.
Okay.
That's the one where Sonny did a promo with Heavy Metal Maniac.
Yeah.
And pissed off Dennis Carluzzo.
Oh, okay.
And it was like 10 minutes, and it was really good.
Right.
And it was like Dennis and Sonny don't like each other.
Right.
Then they immediately go to intermission, and Dennis is promoting, "Over here, Sonny's doing pictures, over here."
Yeah, even though we don't like her.
Yeah, and I got that on video too.
Yeah, that's wild. Were you at that? Was that the show the Misfits almost had a riot?
Yeah, I filmed that.
Yeah, that's why I know I seen it, because I saw it on something you posted.
Yeah.
Now, Holly Lewis, right, was one of the Misfits. I forget the other one's name, but they were a pretty good indie tag team.
Yeah, they were. Then they had that guy, I think his name was Lupus, that you would pick his nose.
Yes, yeah. He was with them. He was part of the Misfits.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, why don't we talk about some of the guys you refereed for? And guys, this is an amazing list of wrestlers. Obviously, like we said, Triple H, Perry Saturn, and all that, but China.
Okay.
How about Nails?
Nails was scary.
Yeah.
Really scary. I did his match, and then I'll come back to it.
Okay.
Nails fought Mad Dog Rashad.
Yeah.
I went up to Mad Dog Rashad before the match, and I go, "You watch out for this guy."
Right.
And Nails heard it. So Nails treated Mad Dog Rashad better.
Yeah.
But we did the NEWF show.
Yeah.
And he was on, and ECW was hot.
Right.
Really hot. All around the arena stuff.
Yeah.
He spent all time throwing the guy out, choking him, coming back in. That's another guy, when I yell, get back in the ring, he would get back in the ring.
He would?
Yes.
Wow.
Because you could see him roll in, roll out.
Right.
Finally, I jumped out of the ring, and then it's like a gym.
Yeah.
And he grabbed, what was it, Johnny Royal? Or
Johnny Royal? Yep. The
Yeah.
Boston Bulldog?
Yeah.
Johnny Royal?
I believe that's his name. Brought him all the way to the top and smashed his head. Brought him all the way back down.
Down the bleachers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And threw him out of the building. And if you watch the video,
Yeah.
the commentator would go, Johnny Royal has left the building. But he was hurt.
Right.
And since this is my first year.
Right.
I got back in the ring instead of disqualifying him.
Right.
I went right up to Niels and say, end this match. He's hurt. And then the guy came in, 1, 2, 3, real fast.
Right. That's awesome. Nails, listen to you. Guy that punched Vince McMahon in the face. All right. How about Iron Mike Sharp?
I never got to referee.
Oh, okay. I did, because I thought you had a picture. Do you have a picture with him?
Yes.
Okay.
I mentioned it earlier on the other show where Hercules was there. I got my picture taken with him.
Yes.
And I had a Doors hat because I always wore hats.
Yeah, I know. You can tell the story because
It was a Doors hat.
Yeah.
And I loved the hat. And Hercules spent over and over again, give me the hat. Give me the hat. Come on, give me the hat. Every time I saw him, give me the hat. And I knew he was losing his hair a little.
Yeah.
So finally I gave him the hat, and then he's marching around. He gave me the hat,
So he was putting you over at least.
Yeah.
They say that he was a really, really nice guy, Ray Hernandez. Seriously. A lot of guys that shoot interviews, most of them say really nice things about him.
I kind of learned early that the heels were the nicest guys in real life.
That's the truth. I've heard that too. The real heels are the baby faces in real life. That's weird. I wonder why that is. Do you have any idea why?
I don't know. Maybe because the faces get asked for autographs all the time. They get sick of it.
Right.
But before Leonard Kaplan was kind of promoting the show.
Okay.
I think it was in Lawrence, Mass, in a high school. And I brought a bunch of kids.
Right.
And we're sitting up there, up on the top of the stands. And I go to the kid next to me, because these kids live in my house, and
Right.
I wanted to take them to the show. So I go to the kid next to me. See that guy over there? That's Killer Kowalski. Whatever you do, don't go near him.
Yeah.
So the kid jumps up, because he had an autograph book, jumps up and starts going down there. And I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
what's going to happen? And Killer's going to kill him. And he ended it out, the program, and Killer signed it right away. And I'm standing there in shock going, wow.
Right. He was really nice. I seen him at a lot of independent shows over the years before he passed. And honestly, any type of interaction I ever had with him, he always had a smile on his face. He was just fantastic.
Yes.
He really, really was. And I do want to say this real quick. Johnny Royal's a fan of this show.
Okay.
So, hi, Johnny. How you doing, buddy? Because he'll be watching. All right. How about we're going to go with some of the more like newer kind of wrestlers. Not new now, but guys that I think wrestled when you were finishing up.
Okay.
Julian Starr?
No.
Okay. Okay.
I used to watch him for NWA on Fire on TV.
Yep.
And I thought he was really great. I was like,
He
into
was.
him. And I would contact John Rodale and say, this guy's incredible, Julian Starr.
Yep.
And then he disappeared.
Yeah. He got hurt, and then he decided he gave up wrestling. But he's married now with a nice wife, Susanna. Julian's a good dude. I didn't really know him. I had him on the show. I know his wife. You know what I mean? But real good guy, but really talented.
Yes.
He did a chaotic countdown just before the pandemic hit, right from the announcers thing. And he got in the ring and he hit that triple moonsault. You know, you jump on the first, second, and third rope. Nailed it. The fans were going crazy saying, you still got it. And he does.
Oh, back to the NWA on Fire.
Yes.
Brian Fury, Julian Starr, and Mike Crockett. And Brian Fury had Julian Starr, I believe it was him, like held him up like here, head here, like that, and feet here.
Yeah.
And they're in the corner, but there's the corner, and Brian Fury's looking at the corner, and Mike Crockett comes to count him.
Yeah.
And he's behind him, and Brian Fury takes Julian Starr and whips him over his head and smashes him into Mike Crockett. So I posted that was a great ref bump.
That's awesome. Crockett was a really good ref. He really was a good ref. People used to love to crap on him all the time, but he was good. How about Gino Martino?
Yes, him and Ali Muhammad.
Yes, the late great Anthony Ruffo.
Were a tag team.
Yeah, they were a good tag. Millennium Killers.
And I did one match where I had put a blade in my white tape.
Yep.
And there was going to be a spot where his head was supposed to get busted open. So he went down on the mat and held his hands like that.
Right.
And I dropped the blade between them.
Right.
And then when he got up, he was pouring blood after that.
Nice. Cheetah was.
And that was back when AIDS was big.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I kind of got scared because blood because back then a lot of referees, mostly boxing referees, would wear gloves.
Yes. Yes, they would because of, like you said, because of AIDS and all that. No doubt. All right. How about Tony Omega?
Don't know much.
Okay.
Because he worked the security.
Okay.
But like I said, I really didn't know much of him.
Right. Okay, that's not a problem. I got plenty of other names.
He had like the Omega Security Group or something like that.
How about the best pound-for-pound wrestler in the world? Brian Malonis. And I believe that too, Brian.
I never refereed him. I don't.
Oh, really? So these guys just missed you then, right?
Yes. And that's my fault. Because I left after Cold Fury 1. And they're up to 25 or something.
Yeah.
And I went to the Tony Rumble tribute show in Wakefield, Mass.
A couple of years ago.
Yes.
20-year anniversary of his death.
Yes.
Correct? Yeah.
And Brian Malonis was there.
Yeah.
And I kind of also knew his brother.
Oh, Jimmy, the Playboy.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Love Jimmy.
But I just didn't know him enough.
Right.
Because I left way too early. I was getting old. I always believed a referee has to keep moving and all that. And I was getting tired, so much so that I gave Todd Sinclair his start.
Wow. Fat Pants. Did you give him his nickname too?
I didn't give him any name.
Oh, okay, because they call him Fat Pants.
Yeah, oh, he had that before.
Oh, okay.
But he was always at the shows. He said he wanted to be a referee and stuff.
Right.
So I was getting tired. I was getting old. So I go, do you want to referee a match? And he's like, what? You want to referee a match? And next thing you know, he's borrowing the keys to a car because he left his car at the Chaotic Center. And he had to go back there to get his ref stuff.
Right.
And then I was starting to think, but I don't really do ribs, but I was thinking about, oh, no, you're not working the show.
Right.
Yeah, and I kind of think that was the show where he refereed Beefcake and got his hair cut.
Haircut, yes, yes.
And of course, I couldn't get my hair cut because I had no hair.
Right, I hear you. Now, Fat Pants ended up, Todd Sinclair, I hope he doesn't mind me calling him Fat Pants because that is his nickname. He actually made it really good. I mean, he made it to Ring of Honor.
Yes.
He was a booker for Ring of Honor for a while. Helped some of the local guys get in there.
And he did a interview like for an hour. I'm not sure who did it, but he put me over so good.
Really, I've never seen it. I'd love to see it. So I'm going to look for it now that I know it's out there.
Yeah, I think I got it on my Facebook page, but you got to really scroll it all the way down.
Right. I definitely want to see that because he was a great ref too.
Yeah,
he
he
turned
was.
out to be a fantastic referee.
And I believe he became the booker for
Yeah.
Chaotic.
Oh, I don't know about Kate, but I'm pretty sure for a little while he was the booker for Ring of Honor.
Right.
Too. So I wouldn't surprise me if he was the booker for Chaotic, you know? I mean, back then it was Fat Pants and Crockett were the two refs. I think that might have been a third one.
But there was also a name called Mucko.
Mako, who passed away.
Yes.
Yes.
And him and Todd would do all the planning and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Writing out stuff and all that.
Right.
But I was gone then, so I was just learning from the internet.
Right. Well, when Crockett and Malonis had their podcast, the wrestling podcast about nothing, they would always say, you know, big ups to Mucko. So I know exactly who Mucko is. And he was very, very big with Chaotic back in the day before he passed away.
And there was other people that hang out with them on the front row.
Right.
There was a guy, Farmer Jeff, and he took so many pictures, and they were good.
Really?
But those websites they posted them on disappeared.
Okay. How about a guy by the name of Mark Beaudry, adult? Was he around, or did he come in after you?
I think he was around. I didn't talk to all the owners.
Well, Mark originally was just helping out, and then eventually Jamie asked him if he wanted to later on. So you might have been gone by then, but you might have been, I think you were there when he was helping with the ring crew and stuff.
Oh, okay.
At the shows.
But like this Randy Miller,
Right.
Milo.
Yep, Milo.
So I didn't have anything to do with, those people.
Yeah. You started with Jamie?
Randy Miller.
Randy Miller, okay.
If Jamie was around, then he was around.
Right.
But like I can't remember, but I say it all the time already. Like I don't really remember much.
Yeah. All right. How about Sean Gorman?
Never worked with him.
Okay.
But it just popped in my head.
Yeah.
We did a match, not me. It was a chain match.
Okay.
And it was two small wrestlers.
Yep.
And they were chained together by the neck. And they never used the chain through the whole match.
Right.
And everybody was upset. So the next two wrestlers like, give me the chain. And they used the chain.
Right.
I think that was the one where Arch Kincaid got killed, like punched with the chain.
Really?
Yeah.
Who hit him?
Whoever he was wrestling.
Okay. Nice. All right. Now, do you know that there's a picture in a Wrestler magazine of you, Dr. Tom, Dory Funk Jr., and Droz?
Yes, because I posted it.
Yes. I think I have that magazine. I wish I would have brought it. Would have just signed it.
Oh, and I'm also Dr. Tom and Droz and Val Venus is flying through the air, and Bruce Pritchard is outside.
Yep.
And I'm refereeing. And that's the one that led up to, the one you just said.
Yeah. And I think, wasn't Edge involved in something like one of that in that match?
Yeah, he was in the match.
Yeah. Yep.
And if you go and look up the first year of the training for the dojo, you'll see all these people together.
Right. Right.
Even Mark Henry but there's a picture of Val Venus and Edge, and they're smiling and laughing in the picture.
Yep.
Because they're watching the training.
Right. Nice. How about a guy by the name of Alex Arion?
The only reason I know him is because of NECW, and I may have worked the match, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Because he seemed to really make it big after I left NECW.
Right. Okay. How about Slick Wagner Brown.
Really good wrestler. It ended up him and April Hunter took over training at Killer Kowalski's
Yes.
school.
When Hollow left.
Yes.
Right.
And they were doing training, and they trained like Nikki Rocks.
Yep.
And
DC Dillinger.
yeah, all those
Eddie
people.
Edwards.
Yes.
Right.
And so they did a real good job because a lot of these people made it.
Yeah. And I mean, DC, the late, great DC Dillinger, he was, in my opinion, one of the best heels in the independents of New England of all time. That guy could come out and not say a word, and everybody hated him. I mean, hated him.
Be the truth, I kind of hated them too.
Yeah, there you go. I was always scared of him. I'm
Yeah.
not lying to you. I was scared of him. I never wanted to be around him. If I seen him standing over there, I went over there. And George Carroll told me that because I said, I don't think he liked me. And George said, trust me, Leo, if DC didn't like you, you would have known.
When I saw him at the wrestling school, I never talked to him.
Right,
I didn't talk to all the people. But
right.
there
What
was-
about Eddie? Eddie Edwards. How was Eddie?
I don't remember him at all.
Hell of a talent, though, huh? He ended up becoming a
Oh, yeah.
great wrestler.
But a lot of people come in small,
Right.
and their names get changed all
Yep.
the time. And that's basically it on that one.
All right. Well, we're going to go to the name game where I pretty much know you know these names. Ted Arcidi.
I know the name.
Right.
And Triple H claims he was trained by Ted Arcidi.
Right.
But it was really Tony Roy that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was Tony Roy.
Because when Triple H went into the school, I walked in. They were wearing their wrestling gear.
Really?
They already had it.
Yeah.
And you saw Triple H and you're like, that guy's going to make it.
Of course.
But then again, I said that to Tony Roy, and
I'm surprised he didn't make it either, though he was really talented. I think the enhancement talent thing hurt him for being signed as a star later. That's what I mean.
we did, Triple H, Tony Roy, John Rodale, and I did a big series of matches. The last show, when it was over, we all hugged, and we also said that we're going to help each other. That didn't happen.
Nope, I guess not.
If one of us makes it, we're going to help the other ones.
Right.
And that didn't happen. And also on that show was the first show for Giant Ron Reese.
Ooh, yes. Killer's one of Killer's trainees.
Yes.
He was the mummy in WCW.
Yeah, but
Or the Yeti, was it? What
Yeti, but it's the mommy, the Yeti, but bad gimmicks.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. He was a big dude.
He left Killer Kowalski's school way too early. And
Hence why he probably never made it, because he never finished the training.
And I was going to tell you as part of a story about driving Tito Santana to a show.
Okay.
And there's a lot to the story.
Right.
And I was freaking out. And if I tell the story, you know why. So I told Freddie Sparta, I can't do the first match. I locked the keys in the car. The car's running, and we can't get in it.
Right.
And there's a big thing about that one, too, because why I locked the keys in the car. So I went to look for Killer. And you know how high schools get a little coach's office?
Yeah, yeah.
I stopped, and Killer Kowalski was trying to give Triple H's belt to Giant Ron Reese. And John Studd said, we're not going to take that. That thing is below us.
Right.
And then soon later, Ron Reese quit the school.
Yeah.
And that was a big mistake.
Right. Yeah, he really, honestly, when he wrestled, he looked like he wasn't fully trained, honestly. And I didn't know that story. But now it makes sense of me seeing him wrestle and not being that good and being trained by Killer.
But every wrestler, Giant Ron Reese or whatever, were trained the same way.
Right.
They learned how to do sunset flips or arm drags or all that. And he learned it too.
Right.
So everybody was trained exactly the same, and if you made it because of yourself.
Right. True. Yeah, because you have to make it on your own merit, obviously, not just because you're trained by Killer Kowalski.
Yeah.
Because that's why not everyone that was trained by Killer Kowalski made it. Absolutely. All right, I'm taking a chance on this one, but I do think you know Tony Ulysses.
Yes, I do. But I didn't really work with him.
Oh, really?
But when I first started and going to Killer shows,
Right. He would work them.
yeah, he was on there.
Yeah.
And I got pictures of him chopping Tony Roy
Nice.
in the ring.
Yeah.
And he was doing the paint gimmick on his face and
Yeah.
the boa.
Yeah, the feminine gimmick.
Yeah.
And he was good at it.
Yeah,
he was really good at it.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I like Tony Ulysses a lot. How about Bert Centeno? Centeno? Is that how I say it? Bert
Centeno.
Centeno El Mascarado.
Yes. When I first saw Wrestling Talk on Lynn Cable,
Yeah.
and I watched a lot of shows.
Right.
They had Spanish shows.
Okay.
And so I'm watching a Spanish show, and Bert Centeno and Astro Man were getting interviewed.
Are you kidding me? On a Spanish show?
Yeah, and they were talking Spanish because
Yeah, right. Both of them speak Spanish.
And then Bert Centeno asked me if I could do a show for him for free in Worcester.
Right.
Which I did.
Yeah, because you're a nice guy.
Yeah, but the thing I didn't understand is during the match, and everybody wears masks.
Yeah,
He would blade. He
with
would
the mask on.
Yeah, he'd pull it and put it with the eye hole and blade. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Kind of stupid.
I'm like, I'm the only one that can see that.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy to do that. All right, how about Dominic DeNucci? Did you meet Dominic?
No, but I liked him a lot.
I liked him too. I met him once and he was a wicked nice guy. I met him at the Boston Garden.
Is that the guy that taught Mick Foley?
Yes. Wicked nice guy. I was like, Mr. DeNucci, and he's like, hey, how you doing? He come over, you come to see the matches tonight? I go, yeah. You wrote for me, he says, and he walks away, and I'm like, yes. I was like 13 years old. I was so excited. Dominic DeNucci. All right. John Callahan?
I know the name mostly from, he did, I could see his face.
Because I know he was trained by Killer.
Yes, but he did a special thing where Brittany Brown showed up and they had a big celebration in the ring.
Oh,
and
cool.
I can't remember his gimmick,
Right.
but something tells me more like a cop or something.
Yeah, I think he was a cop gimmick.
Yeah.
John Callahan.
But I never saw him wrestle, and that's basically it.
Wasn't he Sergeant Muldoon?
That's it.
That's what it was. John Callahan was Sergeant Muldoon. Yep.
That's it.
Now, do you remember Trooper? Trooper Gilmore? Jimmy
Yes.
Allen?
And he's going to the Hall of Fame this year.
Yes, he is. Troop, love you. I love Jimmy's a great guy, man. I've known so many people, like you said to me, how, I kind of have a name in the independent wrestling. Not that I'm a humble guy, believe me. I'm not in the wrestling business or nothing. But when I like to think about all the people I've known for over 20 years, I'm pretty proud of that. And being, like, we're not friends. I don't hang out with them. But I mean, I'm friendly with them. Like Jimmy's a great guy. I did some catering jobs for him and stuff. He's running in Fitchburg, I think, this weekend.
NWA New England did skits.
Yes.
And Mike Doobie was one of the people that helped with the skits. And they did something where they snuck into someplace and they snuck past Trooper Gilmore because he was so busy eating donuts. And I always remembered that. And
He's a trooper.
And I kind of wish I saved those tapes.
Right? Yeah, Jimmy's a great guy, man. Really great guy. How about, I'm taking a shot at this one. I want to say you might have reffed his match, a match or two of his. Larry Winters. No? Okay.
I kind of know who he is, but
Right.
no.
He was part of the original ECW, kind of like with but not. It was before Todd Gordon even.
Yeah, Eddie Gilbert was part of it.
Yeah,
and
yeah. All right. How about Robbie Ellis?
I remember him a lot, and I think I did a match with him in NECW. He was a Sports Illustrated
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
and he was in there.
He was something, I'll tell you.
And he owns a museum, I believe.
Yes, yes.
And he's really into paintings and stuff.
And he loves to wrestle young boys. I'm just saying. He likes to wrestle young boys.
Well, I don't know about that, but
I do.
he was small and
Yeah.
skinny, so maybe,
Yeah.
you can't fight the big guys.
Right, right. No, that's all right. How about this guy worked a lot of indie shows. King Kong Bundy.
Yes.
Now, was they as nice as everybody seriously says he is?
Yes. Kilakowski was asking me to drive people.
Yeah.
And one of them was King Kong Bundy, and I refused. I said, because I had a Ford Escort,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and it's small.
Yeah.
And I said, there's no way King Kong Bundy is going to fit in the car.
Or at least be comfortable.
Yeah. So I would drive Man Mountain Rock, and
It was a little smaller.
yeah,
Big guy, but smaller.
not what I gave him. There was a place called Sin City Cycles in
Yeah,
Lynn,
yeah.
Mass.
I think isn't it still there?
They moved to Saugus.
Oh, okay.
Saugus Mall, I believe.
Okay.
And I got him the biggest shirt, and it was incredible looking, and it was too small for him. So he had a son, and he gave the son his shirt.
Yeah, yeah.
So we ended up going to Kowloon's on Route 1,
Yep.
and we sat down, and Man Mountain Rock and King Kong Bundy ordered all this food. They just ordered all this food.
Yeah.
I don't know who paid for it, but as soon as the food arrived, they go, bag this up. We're taking it home. So they came back with the bags, and they pushed the bags to me and goes, this is for you. You take it home.
Wow. No kidding. They gave you all the food?
Yes.
That's nice of them.
Well, I was a single guy, and
Right.
I had to eat all the food by myself.
Well, I will say this, though, honestly, so many people that I've met that worked on shows with King Kong Bundy all say the same thing. He's like like he's no bigger than anyone. He feels he's the same as the guy in the first match. You know?
And I taped a show. It was just an entrance, but King Kong Bundy came out, and he's like this to an old guy, you know. And it was like really funny.
That's cool. How about Steve Lombardi? Did you cross him in the dojo shows, maybe?
No, but I didn't care for him.
No. Okay.
No. He basically he was running backstage at WWE shows.
Right.
He was doing all the filming of promos.
Yes.
And I remember one time we were standing there, and everybody's like, quiet, quiet. And I think it was Mick Foley as Mankind against The Big Show.
Okay.
And they were doing a dungeon match.
Oh, in like the boiler room.
Boiler Room.
Boiler room match or whatever they called it. Yeah.
And we're standing there, and then we saw who won.
Yeah.
And then like 20, 30 minutes later, we saw it on TV.
Yeah. That's pretty cool that you
Yeah.
saw that. How about former WWF champion, Mr. Bob Backlund?
John Rodale loves him. Absolutely loves him. When we did shows,
I liked him a lot when he was the champ. I did. I'm not going to lie.
he didn't cause me any trouble, but he was like nice. And every show we went to, he got there early, went to the school library, got a book, and read it.
Wow. He's no kidding, huh?
He was smart.
Yeah.
And he ended up, after he left wrestling, he owns his own oil delivery business.
Oh, wow.
And you can look it up.
Right.
Bob Backlund Energy or something like that.
A lot of people forget that he's a two-time WWF champion. Right, isn't he?
I believe so.
Yeah, because I think, didn't he beat Nash? Or Nash beat him or something like that? I'm pretty sure Backlund is a 2-time champ because the other title reign was like 3 or 5 days. That's it.
Yeah, that was back when, I don't want to lose to Bret Hart.
Right.
So I'll lose to Bob Backlund, and then Bret Hart will beat Bob Backlund. Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Some wrestlers did it that way.
Yeah, they just didn't want to lose to certain people.
Right.
How about the late Richard Byrne?
He was good to work for. I got to work all his shows when I was working. He paid good because I worked for Walter.
Right.
We were getting $100 a show.
Damn.
And you can't make that now.
No, and that's pretty good for back then, 20 years ago.
Yeah, but all our shows were sold, and telemarketers would, we're going to do it for this high school for this cause.
Right.
And the telemarketers would call everybody in that city.
Right.
And, hey, let's put your ad in the program or your name in the program.
Right.
And raise money that way.
I went to one USWF show. It was in Salem at the Ice Center. I don't know if you happen to work that show. But there was a manager on it by the name of Vito Carlucci. Do you remember Vito?
All the time. He was trained by Killer Kowalski.
Yes! Scorch!
Yeah, Scorch. And I used to listen to him on WAAF.
Me too.
All the time.
Yep.
And I watched his videos because he's got a lot of videos. Scorch TV, I think.
Yeah, he had when he was in Boston, he had a little thing called Scorch TV. I don't know if he still has it. He might. I think he's in Wisconsin now because I actually found him and I downloaded the app and I was listening to him for a while.
I got a Vito Carlucci story.
All right.
I brought 2 kids really young.
Yeah.
I think one was 4. They were brothers, and they sat in the front row. Had them sit in the front row, and Vito was doing the match and everything. So after the show, the kids are in the back seat, and the littlest kid goes, "I hate that Vito Carlucci guy. He's mean, this and that." So we pulled into Burger King. So when you leave in Middleborough, it seems like we did a lot of shows there. And we went to Burger King. So we're sitting there, and the kid's telling about Vito Carlucci. I look up. They can't see him, but he came in with Freight Train Fulton.
Yep.
And I go to Vito. These 2 kids were talking bad about you, especially this littlest kid. And Vito kind of went off on him.
Yeah.
In a nice way. And Vito even said, I'm only joking.
Yeah.
So then when we left, the littlest kid in the back seat kept turning it around. And then he says, does that guy know where we live? Because he was really scared.
That's hilarious. All right. How about Big John Studd?
Well, I already mentioned about the belt, didn't I?
Yeah.
I did a taping, and it came out really good. Giant Ron Reese, managed by Big John Studd, against the Warlord and Killer Kowalski. And I taped the match different than anybody else. I had the camera in the ring under the ropes.
Right.
I did all that. If you're getting banged in the head in the turnbuckle,
yeah, you were right
I
there.
filmed it, that way. But the VHS tape kind of screwed up on John Studd's voice.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. So that kind of killed that video.
Do you remember in the late 70s and stuff, maybe even early 80s, cameramen would get on the outside of the ring, outside the rope part, and stand there and get shots?
Yeah.
I mean, that was a good way to shoot. I mean, they don't do that anymore. I've never seen a cameraman up on the apron. All right, how about Mr. Hughes?
I did one match, and he punches hard. And it was against Tony Roy.
Okay.
And they need jobbers, so Tony Roy was the best.
Right.
And he had
experienced at it.
He had a contact lens, and he got punched hard in the face, and the contact lens popped out.
Yeah.
And you could see it on the video. He's pulling the contact lens from his face. So we're now in the corner, and Tony goes, here, you know. So I put my hand out, and he gave me the contact lens. So I closed my hand, but I had to look at it again because it's so light.
Right.
And I ended up putting it in my pocket. And you can see all this in the video if you look for it.
Right. If you're looking for it, right.
Yeah, but that's the only time I worked with him.
Okay. How about Brian Walsh?
Oh, I could go on and on about Brian Walsh.
Please do. Because he was phenomenal.
Remember I told you about the Canadian bus trip from hell?
Yes.
He was my roommate. And nicest guy. We're in Canada, and we did a show, and there was 3 buses, and I wasn't on the bus that I was supposed to be on.
Okay.
So Brian goes back to the hotel with those guys, and I went back with the other bus. But the other bus stopped at a bar.
Okay.
So we're in the bar shooting pool, whatever. Brian Walsh walks in, and he's like, "Can you give me the keys to the bus because I got to go back and get Rick." Oh, Rich Lannon, but
yeah.
I got to go back and get him. And I was like, there, I was right there.
Right. He thought you were still at the arena?
Yeah.
That's wild.
But yeah, he was the best, and he fell asleep right away, like, boom.
Yeah. How about the Candyman, Jerry Seavey? That's how you say it, right? Seavey?
Yeah. He was on Deal or No Deal.
Yeah. He did pretty good on it, too.
First half.
Yeah.
And I wish the video was still, I don't know who took it off, but the video was on YouTube.
I think he put it on himself.
Yeah, but someone took it off.
Oh, okay.
And he did incredible, like, wow. And then just fell apart.
Right. All right. Well, I don't know if you with this guy, but he's one of my favorite enhancement talents of all time, Rugged Ron Shaw.
I never got to work with
Okay,
him. I know
he was trained by Killer, too.
I know who he was.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to go back to Jerry Seavey.
Please.
When I first joined the wrestling school, his brother was the nicest guy to me, and we became friends instantly.
Nice.
The only problem was I never had anybody film my matches, so I really wanted to film a midget match.
Right.
So I gave him the camera. What he did was he went to the back of the arena, sat in a chair on the floor, and they're midget wrestlers.
Right.
So you can barely see them, the top of their heads. And I was kind of bummed out. And he spent basically the whole time yelling at people that were walking in his way. And I was kind of bummed out because I thought he was going to be up front.
Right. That's wild. All right. How about you must have met Jimmy Snuka.
Yes. And did I mention John Rodale managed the Mountie, Jacques Rougeau?
Yes.
We probably talked about it earlier.
Yes.
And
that was the match against Snuka?
Yes.
Okay.
And Snooker also fought Gorgeous Chris Duffy in, I know, Framingham.
Okay.
And I taped that. And the other match was more famous, Perry Saturn versus Rio, Lord of the Jungle.
Yes, his name was here.
Who became the Renegade.
Yes. Yep.
2 guys that made
Rick
it.
Williams was his real name.
Yeah, 2 guys that made him, and unfortunately,
Yeah. It's a shame.
what happened after he lost his job.
Right. How about the outpatient?
He was crazy.
Jeremy Carter.
Yeah, he was crazy. He lived the outpatient gimmick great. He always fought Trey, the smooth operator gangster.
Yeah. Smooth peanut butter.
Yeah.
He likes his peanut butter smooth.
And Smooth would, every time he did a finishing move, he'd call it out, Rich, the spider. He would call it out. But,
that's awesome.
They fought a lot, and I like those matches too.
How about a tag team? The Archangels, Steve King and Damon Archangelo.
I'm not sure if I did them together.
Okay.
But if I did, it was NWA New England. And at the tribute show for Tony Rumble, I hung out with Damien because he was doing a different gimmick.
He's a good guy.
He was doing a gimmick like feminine.
Right, yeah. Because he would been doing it with Jason Rumble as the Crown Jewels.
Yes, and that's one with Tony Ulysses as a manager.
Yes. Now, what about Jason Rumble? Any words about Jason?
No, he was another nice guy that I enjoyed refereeing.
Yeah.
And
He's talented.
it was funny because I've been away from wrestling for so long, and he ran the Tony Rumble tribute.
Right.
And basically, when I go to a show, I don't go in for free.
Right.
And I kind of asked his wife at the time, or that was his wife, if it'd be okay if I came in. And she contacted him, and he's like, yeah, he's a worker.
Yeah. That's awesome. Jay's a good guy. All right, let's do one more name real quick. How about Mike Harlow? We talked a little about him earlier.
Yeah. I know more about him together with Jim McCarthy.
Yes.
They did the Annihilators together.
Yep. They
fought each other, like Outlaw Jim Cody versus Mike Harlow. I saw a video the other day. I think it was the cage match that I mentioned earlier with Steve Bradley.
Yes.
And he did a run in. It was like a big thing about American, and I think Steve Bradley was part of that.
Nice. Rich, these 2 hours went by really fast. We're going to have to do this again. Maybe I'll come up to Maine with a camera.
Oh.
Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. Guys, it's out. Peace. Hi, guys. I hope you're enjoying the show. Listen, I could use a little help to grow my YouTube channel. So if you could please like, share, and subscribe. That's most importantly, subscribe. Send me a direct message, and I'll give you a shout out here on the show. My YouTube channel is real simple. It's just my name, Leo Connors. Thanks in advance. Peace.